girl. Welcome to the Positively You podcast. I'm your host, Jessie Larson, and I'm passionate about helping you shift the way you think so you can create a life you're absolutely obsessed with. Each week, I'll be bringing you a guest or a thought that's going to help you feel more optimistic and equipped to take real action. Get ready to push past limiting beliefs, ditch that negativity, and start showing up as the best and most positive version of you. Girl, let's do this. Hey, it's Jess. Welcome back to another episode of the Positively You podcast. Today, I am really excited about the topic, which is in complete alignment with what we've got going on right now. If you are unaware, or just popping in for the first time, over on social media, and if you're on my email list as well, I have issued a challenge for spring and summer. You can go back 2 episodes to episode 154 to get all the information on the Positively Me challenge, what it entails, how long it lasts, all the good details are there. But essentially, I created this kind of framework a number of years ago, these habits back in 2020, actually. So we're coming on like 4 years of these habits that I've implemented in my own life. And from time to time, I kind of umped the ante a little bit. And this last time I decided that I needed some goals and I wanted to do it together with a group of a community. So I was like, why not invite the podcast community, the Positively You community into these 7 habits that I think are really important and can be really good baseline habits for your life. So again, I won't go into like a ton of detail here on this episode because I did an episode 154 that the link is right here in the show notes. You can click on it and head back, or just click back 2 episodes if you want to go listen to it. But essentially the 7 habits are: make your bed, nourish your body, hydrate, go outside. It used to be go for a walk, but as I've learned more and more of the benefits of vitamin D, of getting the sun, of what it does for your circadian rhythms, and just all the benefits of outside time, it's just outside. So if you want to have that be a walk, which is what I do, have that be that goes towards your movement. But it's literally just going outside. So if that's stepping outside in the morning to do your journaling, if that is going outside to eat your lunch, if it's heading outside to look at the sunset, whatever it is, just get some outside time every single day. Which is why it's awesome that we're doing this challenge right now in the spring, but even in the winter, even in bad weather, see if you can get that outside time. Okay, the next one is movement, intentional movement. So it doesn't have to be these like rigorous, tough workouts, but something intentional where it's not just, oh yeah, I definitely did move today, right? When you're trying to get those points on your to-do list and you're just like, yeah, that counts, right? Walking around the grocery store counted as movement. It doesn't not count. But being intentional, either it's a workout class you're going to or doing some yoga, going on a hike, some kind of intentional movement. Let's see, what number are we at? We did make your bed, nourish, hydrate, outside, move. All right, we got 2 more. Read something. Now, again, the last couple of years, as I've learned more of the benefits of reading and what that can do for you, I'm so glad I added this as a core habit for the Positively Me challenge. Now, if you've looked at other challenges like 75 Hard or a couple of these other things that get really intense, it's like it has to be a nonfiction book, it has to be personal development, it has to be a physical book, and you have to read 10 pages. We all know I'm not about these rigid structures and rules and absolutes. So you can read, quote unquote, or listen to a book, and that counts. It can be fiction, it can be nonfiction, it can be a thriller, it can be very smut, it can be whatever you want, any type of reading, because it's good for you. You've taken that time to dedicate to either learning something or experiencing something or escaping to a fantasy realm, whatever. There's so much goodness in setting some time to read. So I didn't put a specific amount of time on this or a set number of pages that you have to read in order to complete this task, just some time that you're reading every single day. I actually just saw, speaking of this and why I don't care how long it is or how much it is, there was I posted this in a reel, but there was some study, and I'm going to totally mess up the statistic here on this, but it was a statistic about, you're like, wow, Jess, this is a real credible podcast. There was a statistic that the benefits of reading can improve your mood in just 6 minutes. Now, I don't remember what the percentage was, but we all have 6 minutes. Go lock yourself in the bathroom, for goodness sakes, for 6 minutes. We all know our husbands do it, so you have permission to go do it now too. Go lock yourself somewhere for just 6 minutes and read, and your mood, boom, automatically boosted. All right, and the seventh habit, I said I wasn't going to go into detail here, and here we are like 5 minutes in. It's okay. The seventh and final one is mindfulness, and that can be, again, you make these habits work and fit into your life and work for you. I'm not going to say you have to meditate each day and journal each day and whatever other thing that your mindfulness could be. I'm not going to tell you exactly what you have to do. You lean in, and it can change day to day. I've been doing a lot of meditating first thing in the morning, and I've also taken up more journaling that I love so much. And you can go back. There's episode, I don't remember what it was, a couple back with Stephanie Wing. We talked all about journaling and the benefits there. Great episode. Since I can't remember the number right now, it'll be in the show notes. Click down. It's right there for you. Okay, so the challenge officially started last week. Now, if you're listening to this when it airs, that's great. If you're listening to it later, this challenge is something that you can pick up at any time, and you can also put any amount of length of time frame on it that you want. I would highly suggest doing at least 6 or 7 weeks, just for that consistency to build. There is also a strategy here for why I would say 7. If you don't want to start with all 7 at once and you want to kind of build on top of each habit, you give yourself 7 weeks to build up. Okay, so we are 1 week in. And as I got to the end of the weekend, I was reflecting on how the first week went, where I succeeded, where I didn't succeed, where I kind of fell off, what were the trends, what were the things that kind of stood in my way, or the roadblocks or the detours that got me off the path and maybe not able to accomplish all of the things that I set out to do. And as I was thinking about that, I realized that this is a huge, huge important part of not just this challenge and these habits, but a huge part in achieving any goal. And that is the time to take to reflect and then make a plan. But there's more to it than that. Number 1, reflect. Okay? This is how you're going to hit all your goals. Right here. Number 1, you're going to take time to reflect. Now, you can do daily reflection for sure. I think weekly reflection is great because it gives you kind of like a week's worth of data. You can kind of see the trends, but you've been marking these off every single day. So you are doing daily reflection, but then at the end of the week before you head into the next one, taking some real time to sit down, review the data if you've been marking off your chart. And if you've been journaling, taking anything into account that you've got this data now of how your week went. And look at that. The first thing that I want you to do when you look at that is to count your wins and celebrate your wins. How many X's do you have marked off? How many days? Celebrate the crap out of the good and the wins that you did. Do not even look at the negative first. Reflect and be like, holy cow, I made my bed 6 out of 7 days last week. Before this challenge, I don't remember the last time I made my bed. Go me. 6 days in a row. I didn't do it on Sunday, but that's because, maybe Sunday I woke up late, then took a nap. It was just kind of a lazy day, so whatever. Right? You look at your wins first, okay? And celebrate. Celebrate yourself. Celebrate your wins. Pat yourself on the back. Give yourself a little gold star. Do whatever you need to do in order to feel good about the things that you've accomplished this week. Now, the next thing I would look at is where you didn't accomplish. Where on that chart, if you are doing the challenge with us, I did send out a little Google sheet that you can just put an X. And I will put X's when I complete it. I will actually put a dash for effort. Where if my water, say one day I hit 3/4 of a gallon and my goal is a gallon, I will mark off half of an X because I did pretty good that day and I want credit for that. It's not all or nothing. Every move forward is progress, and I think that should be celebrated as well. Not just, I don't want to look back on the week and be like, oh, I didn't do it that day, because I did it 3/4 of the way. I have another podcast episode. I'm just going to keep referring back. I also do not remember this number, and I wish I did. I have my phone sitting right here in front of me, but I can't click out of this to get the number for you. It's also linked in the show notes. Just go click below. But it talks about failure and reframing failure. And the whole point of that episode was if I did 20%, that's not that great. I didn't do 100%. But guess what? 20% is 20% more than zero. So you did something. But I won't go into that here. You can go listen to that episode too. This one is just full of resources and pointing you all over the place, isn't it? Okay, so look at where you either had a half of a mark or you had a complete day of emptiness. I'll be completely honest. I fell off this weekend a little bit. I was going super strong Monday through Friday afternoon, and then it kind of fell off. I kept up making my bed. I kept up the mindfulness, and I kept up reading, but a couple of the other things fell off. So that's when the point, instead of saying, oh no, Jess, this always happens. You do so good on the weekend, and the weekend comes around and the wheels fall off the train and it all goes to hell and you always do this, right? We don't want to go into shame or talking trash on ourselves, but looking just at the data and at the evidence, being like, okay, obviously the structure of a week with work and with school and all of that is really good for me sticking to these goals. When I have a little bit more free time and less structure, that's when I kind of fall off. So what can I do to change that? Now I noticed that I kept making my bed because that's now been a habit like for 5 years and it's just ingrained in me now. And I kept up my mindfulness, because Sunday was a good day for a reflection, for things like that. And I also kept up reading because I stuck my headphones in for a minute and just listened for a little bit. Now, hydrating, so hard for me on Sundays. I do not know what it is. I will forget to drink actual water all day on Sunday. All day. It will be like 6 o'clock at night and I will walk over to my water bottle and be like, oh my gosh, this is the first time I've taken a sip. So that's what I've been reflecting on a little bit this week, is what can I do on Sundays to help me actually get my water intake? And I was talking to my coach. I have had this fitness coach for like 4 or 5 years now at this point. She helps me back in the day when I was doing powerlifting competitively and all that stuff. I haven't competed in over 2 years, but she's still in my back pocket. I love her. And we were talking about this, and she mentioned, maybe setting an alarm. So you better believe that I've got some alarms set for next Sunday that says, drink your water. And they're going off literally like every 2 hours to be like, hey, Jess, go drink your water. Hey, go drink your water. Because I don't know what it is. Sunday, I've had a gallon of water every day this past week. And Sunday, I was like, nope, not even a sip of it. None. Nada. Zilch. So heading into this next week, hopefully we can do a little bit better because I've got that evidence. And then once you go over the data, once you have that evidence, then you can make a plan, right? Then that's the point where you come in and you say, okay, is it that I need to set an alarm? Okay, is it that I need to set my clothes out? Is it that I need to actually have an accountability partner or someone that I meet that wants to go on a walk with me every Monday so that I know that I get those in? Whatever that plan is, try it out. And then here's the fun thing. You go through the next week, you get to the end of the week, and you do this reflection all over again. You reflect, you celebrate, you see where your efforts were, you see where your stumbling blocks were, and you say, okay, the alarms didn't work. Or they did work really well, so we're going to keep going for this. Or, okay, they didn't work. What else could I do? And you kind of problem solve and you troubleshoot through this. And this is where this is fun, because all of it just becomes this like experiment and this process. There's no stakes that feel like you're going to fail, because every day forward is forward progress. You have an intention each day to say, hey, I'm showing up and I want to have these habits in my life. I want to have these positive things that I do that I know are going to help me feel happier, feel healthier, feel calmer, feel centered, feel connected, all of these things, all of these good habits. And so it's not looking at them saying, wow, I thought I could do this and it turns out I really can't. And then we get to feel really bad about ourselves. The way that I've designed this challenge, I don't even know that I want to call it a challenge, but I haven't thought of a better word for it, is that it's all about that forward progress. It's all about celebrating you putting in the effort, putting in the intention, and putting in the work. And then you're learning. Every time you quote unquote fail, you are learning, right? I don't necessarily think, I failed, right, on Sunday with not getting my water in. But I can just look at that and say, okay, why? And that is why it is so important to have the documentation, to have something to be able to look back and reflect on and see your efforts so that you're not heading into this next week on quote unquote a failure. If I hadn't have spent time this past week marking off the things that I did accomplish and looking and saying like, hey, 5 out of the 7 days I actually did hit my water. If I'm not marking those things off and I'm just going off of my feeling, I might be heading into next Monday thinking, man, I fell off the wagon. Man, that weekend was hard. Dang, I didn't accomplish any of the things I set out to do, even though I probably accomplished 90 to 95% of those things, which is a huge win. If I'm only going off of my feeling and the most recent thing, I might not be getting the full picture. So there's a plug for actually marking off your things and documenting when you are accomplishing those tasks so that you do have an accurate picture to reflect on as you're reflecting and as you're moving into the new week. So as we're in the middle of the week right now. It's Wednesday when this episode airs. So you can even take some time right now to reflect, right? You don't have to wait until the end of the week. See how your week's been going, what you can do to move forward. I'm excited to try out alarms this week and see if that helps me a little bit. But I feel really, really strongly about these positive habits and taking the time to figure out which ones I felt were so important to have as kind of a baseline. And these are the ones. Obviously, if you've been around for more than like an episode or two, you know that my very, very, very basic baseline habit is making your bed. That's the one that kind of shifted everything for me. And then I figured out these 6 other habits that are really, I think, just really key. They're just these positive habits to have in your life. So that's why I picked them. That's why we're focusing on them. And here's what you can do to make sure that you're hitting those by the end of these 12 weeks, that by then, all of these are just these like no-brainer habits that you're just doing. So here is to us being committed, to us having intention, to us following through, proving to ourselves that we can do things, that we can build confidence, that we can achieve the things that we want to. I'm so happy to be doing this challenge with you. If you are doing it and you want to tag me or be part of the community, if you're posting on your stories on Instagram, make sure you tag me at positively.jessie. I love when those tags pop up. Or send me a DM, shoot me an email, respond to an email that I send to you over in your inbox. I love getting those too. And just let's have fun with this challenge together. All right, that's it for me today. Have a great week. Thank you for hanging out with me again today. I'm so glad you pressed play. If you want to take a quick second to share this episode with someone you think would love it too, that would be amazing. If you're loving the show, make sure you go and leave a review on iTunes. Reviews are like magic for podcasts, and your review will help get this show into the ears of more amazing women just like you. And come find me over on Instagram. I'm there at positively.jessie, and I cannot wait to hang out with you some more. So until next time, have an amazing week.